Fisher, and welcome to Baxendale EO Bitesize, helping you with your succession journey in accessible, bite-sized chunks. In this episode, we're going to explore, can family business owners keep the business in the family when there's no obvious family successor? Family businesses in the UK come in all sizes, from all sectors, and are based all over the country. Some have been operating for hundreds of years and are deeply embedded in our communities. Others are first-generation businesses with much of their story ahead of them, but they all face the same challenge when the current stewards near retirement age. Can they keep the business in the family? We think the answer is yes, even if there isn't an obvious and willing family successor. Exiting family business owners should consider keeping the business in their extended business family, the one made up of their employees. Now, family business owners will often have spent their entire careers nurturing and growing a business that reflects the family's values and reputation. They rightly want to protect and extend that culture and legacy. Very often, it's their name above the door. They may have been helped by the hard work and commitment of both family and non-family employees, and will be motivated to protect the workers and communities that have contributed to business success over many years. Now, in addition to prioritising culture and values, family businesses typically place significant emphasis on collective stewardship, responsible risk-taking, and a dedication to long-term business objectives. And therefore, continuity and independence of the business is usually a key succession objectives for exiting family owners. Where there are relatives willing and able to take on all or some of the responsibilities of the exiting owners, the most obvious succession solution is to keep ownership and very often management of the business in the family. But what if family members don't wish to take on senior management or active ownership roles in the family business when the senior generation is ready to retire? We believe it's really important for business owning families to have the opportunity to explore all succession options available to them, and that they consider not only options involving 100% family ownership in the next generation, but also alternative sustainable business structures that will allow the business legacy to continue with or without family ownership in the future. So, as well as looking at the family succession options available to family businesses, I'd like to introduce you to an innovative approach that we believe all family businesses should explore. It's a model involving non-family ownership that's different from a trade sale or management buyout. It's transferring the business to the extended business family of employees with a move to employee ownership. Now, employee ownership presents options that can help balance the senior generation's desire for continuity and sustainability of the family business with the next generation's aspirations for their careers, which they may have felt unable to pursue due to the absence of an alternative to a family succession solution for the business. But before we get to that, let's quickly chat through the ways family can keep the business in the family, the biological family that is, when the time comes for the senior generation to retire. One option is to recycle mum or dad. So in this model, a senior generation business owner and leader nurtures and mentors a successor to step into their shoes when they retire. When the time is right, ownership and leadership of the business is transferred to the successor, and business and governance practices are recycled from the previous generation. The status quo is maintained. If there are a number of members of the next generation that are ready to take over ownership and management of the business, the work is around harnessing talent and designing a system of governance that will allow the business to thrive with new family owners at the helm. However, being related doesn't necessarily mean that people have a shared flair or appetite for the family business. Another alternative is when next generation family members do not wish to be owner-managers of the family business, systems of governance can be designed that allow the family to continue as active shareholders, with a non-family board running the business on the family shareholders' behalf. The difficulty in this model is striking the correct balance within the governance structures. If the shareholders are overly involved in decision-making, then the board may be paralysed and the business suffers. If the shareholders are disengaged, the family begins to lose touch with its legacy business. At this stage, some families choose to sell the business and diversify the family's assets using a family office structure where the family continues to collectively hold a more diverse portfolio of assets. The family office creates the emotional glue that holds a growing family together, the way the family business did in previous generations. But what if it were possible to sell the business to realise cash for the family or family office while still protecting the values, cultures and jobs for employees in the family business? We believe that a move to employee ownership can create that balance. Cash for the family while protecting the family business legacy. So what is employee ownership? Employee ownership is where all employees have a significant and meaningful stake in their business. This means that some or all of the ownership is transferred to employees, or what we call the extended business family. Now, we know that introducing non-family owners is a really big step for any family business, but unlike other non-family ownership options, employee ownership allows the unique culture and values of the family business to be preserved. The new non-family owners have worked in the business, often for many years, where the culture is entrenched. Commitment to the local community is preserved, and contractor and supplier relationships are protected. And employees have a real voice in their organisation and are given the opportunity to share in the wealth that they help to create in the future. And the employee ownership model is very flexible, so it's possible to create bespoke succession solutions that can work for most family businesses. In a move to full employee ownership, the family sells all of its shares and extracts its wealth, usually over a period of time. Perhaps the emotional glue is maintained via collective ownership of other assets, and the business legacy of independence and sustainability continues without family involvement. The transition to 100% of employee ownership can be structured in a number of ways. Employees can hold shares individually, which is called direct employee ownership, or shares can be transferred into a trust, which will hold the shares for the benefit of all of the employees, and this is indirect employee ownership. And it's also possible to use a blend of the two. In the direct ownership model, employees become individual shareholders in their companies. Shares are usually acquired via a tax advantage share scheme. And as direct shareholders, employees can influence the direction of the company and can benefit financially as the company grows. Most companies oblige shareholders to sell their shares when they're no longer employees of the business. Indirect ownership is when all or some of the shares are held collectively for the benefit of all of the company's employees, usually using an employee ownership trust or EOT. The EOT model gives employees many benefits of ownership without them being obliged to buy shares directly from their own cash. And if it's done properly, an EOT is a tax-efficient structure. So, for example, if an EOT purchases at least a majority stake in a company, the payments to the exiting owners for those shares can be exempt from capital gains tax, and employees can benefit from an annual income tax-free bonus of up to £3,600 per year. The EOT is usually intended to be the long-term custodian of ownership in the business's governance structure. So where a family business sells to an EOT, continued family representation can be built into that structure. For example, the family may be able to appoint one or more of the trustees of the EOT for a period of time, or in some cases, in perpetuity. Many companies find that a blended model offers the best solution. The majority of the shares will be held by an EOT to provide stability for the company, and some of the remaining shares will be made available to employees, often to incentivise the next generation leaders of the business. It's also possible for the family to retain some shares in the family business. In this model, the majority of the family shares are transferred to employees directly or to an employee ownership trust, and a minority of the family ownership is retained. This allows the family to continue to participate in decision-making and remain custodians of the business while getting some cash out of the business for their retirement. Employees are given the opportunity to participate in and benefit from the success of the business, but the family still has a say over the things that really matter to it. So, employee ownership is a flexible solution that allows family members to realise their investment in the business while protecting the independence and sustainability of the business for the long term. Succession is inevitable, but it's surprising how many people put off thinking about it until very late in the day. So, with many family businesses facing transitions every year, it's essential that they know all of the succession options so they find the best way forward for them, their families, and their communities. Our experienced multidisciplinary team of experts can help guide businesses and their owners through successful transitions in ownership and leadership, from initial discussions to design and implementation. Our process puts business owners and their businesses at the heart of their bespoke succession solutions. So please get in touch if you would like to chat about what your succession solution could look like.